In a small town in the Philippines, a family welcomed a baby boy into the world. They already had a 13-year-old son, but their happiness was short-lived. Struggling to make ends meet, the mother could barely care for the newborn. Desperate, she turned to her cousin, Girlie, for help. Girlie, despite her own financial struggles, agreed to take in the baby. She and her husband, Fritz, already had a 5-year-old daughter. Fritz had no job, and Girlie worked as a nurse, earning barely enough to survive. The burden of another child was overwhelming, and soon, they realized they could not continue like this. One day, Girlie came up with an idea of finding someone else to care for the baby, essentially putting him up for adoption. They reached out to several people, but only one person agreed: Fritz's sister, Jane. Jane had a husband, Roy, and two daughters, Sharon and Trishali. When she heard about the baby, she was hesitant, but her daughters were thrilled at the idea of having a little brother. Roy, however, was against it. He didn't want the responsibility. But Jane, seeing how much her daughters wanted a sibling, decided to take the baby boy into their home for free. When the mother met Jane and her family, she saw how happy the girls were to welcome their new brother. But standing in the background was her 13-year-old son, watching in silence. He had lived a life of neglect, overshadowed by his mother's struggles and indifference. Seeing his baby brother being taken in by a family that seemed to care, a painful thought crossed his mind. Can I be adopted too? My parents doesn't love me, he asked. Jane was taken aback. She had only agreed to take the baby boy. The mother, who had never shown much love for her oldest son, said nothing. The decision had already been made, and the boy was left standing there, knowing that, once again, he was unwanted. And so, the baby boy left to start a new life, while his older brother remained behind, trapped in the same struggles, wishing for a chance that never came. Years passed, and the baby boy grew into a 13-year-old. Jane and her family had given him love, a home, and everything he ever wanted. To him, they were his real family. He was happy until one evening when Jane, Roy, and their daughters sat him down for a serious conversation. There's something you need to know, Jane said gently. You were adopted. The words hit him like a truck. He blinked. What do you mean? Jane sighed. You're not our biological son. Your real mother gave you up when you were a baby. His heart pounded. He had never suspected a thing. He thought he belonged. But now, everything felt wrong. That night, he lay awake, his mind racing. If they weren't his real parents, then who was he? Did his real family love him? Did they even think about him? As he entered grade 7, he struggled. He was in the highest class, but exhaustion made it hard to keep up. His restless mind was filled with thoughts of abandonment, making sleep impossible. It didn't help that Jane and Roy had moved to Ireland for work, leaving him with his grandmother. The house felt empty. His sisters weren't around, and he had no one to talk to. He lacked communication skills, making every conversation awkward. He withdrew into himself. Depression crept in. He felt like he was just existing Wake up, school, home, repeat. Nothing excited him anymore. Jane still expected him to follow her rules, but he struggled. He was tired, lost, and unmotivated. When he failed, she got mad. You have everything. Why can't you just do what I say? She scolded him over the phone, but she didn't understand. Because even though they had given him everything, he still felt empty. His life became a cycle of loneliness. His parents were far away. His mind drowned in thoughts of abandonment. Jane's frustration only made things worse. But there was one person that kept him going. A girl in his class. She wasn't just any girl. To him, she was special. The way she smiled, the way she talked to others so effortlessly. She was everything he wasn't. She had no idea how much she meant to him. How she unknowingly kept him alive just by existing. Being in the highest class, he saw her every day. But that was all he could do watch. Because even though he liked her, he didn't know how to talk to her. He had always struggled with communication. And this was no different. What if she thinks I'm weird? What if she laughs at me? What if I ruin everything? So, he stayed silent. But deep down, he longed for connection. He had never truly felt love before. His real parents abandoned him. Jane only showed affection when he obeyed her. Was love supposed to feel different? Was it warm, comforting? He didn't know. All he knew was that when he looked at her, he felt something got and